know why, but for some reason, a roll neck always makes me feel like I'm doing a James Bond impersonation from the 70s. Hello and welcome to the world of Craig. Yes, it's me, Craig. This is my channel where I get into everything hair and sometimes a little bit of beauty. Now, I hope that you guys are all well. If it's your first time here on my channel, hello. And if you're coming back for more, then thank you. I'm bringing full 70s James Bond realness today. I don't wear a lot of roll necks, but I just felt like a roll neck day. It went very well with my slightly crazy eyebrows. Now, today, let's get on with it, Craig. Today, we're going to be getting into busting some Olaplex myths. So what exactly do I mean by Olaplex myths? Well, if you've been following me here for a while, there are other videos about Olaplex here on my channel. Check them out after you've watched this, obviously, and also on my Instagram, which is popping up here. And as always, I will link it down below. I'm a huge Olaplex fan. I've been using it since its conception, which I think was around 6 years ago now. And it's completely changed the way that I color hair. I do a lot of global bleaching and a lot of highlighting, as I'm sure you do. And it's really had a massive impact. Now, when I talk about myths, we talk about things that might not be true or misinformation. It's obvious that when something is as successful and as popular as Olaplex, and especially on things like social media, to date, Olaplex has been tagged over 11 million times on Instagram. Yeah, that's a lot, 11 million times. There's going to be information out there that's not quite correct, or that might be kind of he said, she said, they said. So today we're going to bust some Olaplex myths. Let's get into the video. Now, it makes sense to start at the very beginning, and the thing that I hear quite a lot, and I hear it especially, I host live sometimes over on the Facebook Olaplex users group. If you're a hair pro and you use Olaplex and you're not a member, go and check it out because it's great. And if you're thinking about using Olaplex as a hair professional, check out the Facebook Olaplex users group. Try saying that without your teeth in, because it's a hive of information, and the peeps over at Olaplex that run it and put all of the stuff together are really fantastic. They're so knowledgeable. But the question that I get a lot, or the statement, is that all bond builders are the same. Well, they're not. And the reason for that being so is that Olaplex contains a chemical compound. It was found and developed by two scientists, two chemists, and that chemical compound is, wait for it, bis-aminopropyl diglycol dimaleate. Now, that long chemical compound is patented to Olaplex. It's protected under patent, which means that the Olaplex line, number 1 to 7, all of the products contain it, but it's the only line that can contain the bis-aminopropyl diglycol dimaleate. Now, I'm not knocking other bond builders. I'm a great believer in everybody having a chance out there. Obviously, Olaplex was the original bond builder, but I think there's room for everybody, out there in the hairdressing world. It would almost be just like having one hairspray or one hair gel or one color line. So it's great to have lots of stuff out there, and I'm not knocking other bond builders, but they don't do and don't contain what Olaplex does. Now, next up, it's hilarious how much do I love to hold a product when I'm talking. But next up, we're going to talk about something, again, that I hear an awful lot, and I do see this a lot on social media too, and that is that Olaplex, the Olaplex system, can over-proteinize the hair. Well, again, it's interesting how these things get out there, but Olaplex doesn't contain any protein. There's no protein in it at all. That long chemical compound, I won't say it again, but you know the one that we were just talking about, that long chemical compound, what that actually does, when you use Olaplex number 1 as an additive, and there are other videos here on my channel that talk a lot more about usage. Today we're busting myths, but if you want to watch those other videos, I'll link them down below. And there's actually one popping up there now. But what that chemical compound does is, when you're using this as an additive to hair color, to bleach, or throughout the perming process, what it does is it goes into the hair and it basically stops cysteic acid from forming, which helps, because cysteic acid is the thing that will actually break down hair. So, there's no protein in this at all. Olaplex number 1, which is the kind of like, the big daddy, if you like, of the Olaplex line, Olaplex number 1 actually only has 4 ingredients in it. One of them is the bis-aminopropyl diglycol diamaleate. There's some water, there's a stabilizer, and I think it's a preservative, but it has no protein in it. There's no protein in any of the Olaplex products except for a very, 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 very tiny trace amount in the conditioner. Apart from that, they're all protein free. It's me from the very near future. Now, after packing my lights away, that's them in the background there, and checking over my notes, I've realised I've made a mistake. I've got it wrong. Apologies. It's number 4, the shampoo, and number 6, the leave-in treatment, that have the tiniest trace amount of vegetable-based protein. And even if your hair is sensitive to protein, and most hair products contain some kind of protein, it wouldn't have an effect at all. Okay, that's cleared up. Let's get back to the video. So, often I think it's a misconception because the Olaplex line, certainly 0, 1, 2, and 3, they're not conditioning treatments. They're not for manageability. They're there to add bonds to the hair, to strengthen the internal structure of the hair, and to stop that cysteic acid production when you're actually lightening or colouring or perming hair. But they're not a conditioning treatment for manageability. You still need to use your conditioning treatments, your weekly masks, all of those luscious things you like to use to create manageability in the hair, whilst this will keep the hair bonded, strong, and healthy. So something else that I hear an awful lot is that you need to bump your developer strength, your developer level, when you're using Olaplex #1 as an additive in colour, lightener, bleach, etc. Well, back in the very early days of Olaplex's launching, conception, the advice from the peeps behind the scenes who developed it were that you did need to bump your developer level in order to get the lift. One of the things that Olaplex #1 does is it actually lowers the alkalinity of whatever you're adding it to. But after further usage and research, they tested it and found that a smaller amount of product, this is the measuring device that normally goes in the bottle of Olaplex. This is a brand new one. I haven't opened it, so I'm not going to put it in and open it up because then obviously you've got a certain amount of 2-year shelf life, but this is my home one that I keep for when I do lives and things. So you would normally use this measuring device. And when we were all first using Olaplex, we were adding a lot, a much bigger quantity. Now, the actual quantity is 3.75 mil. I don't know if you can see that there. 3.75 mil into 15 mil of lightener powder, and you measure it by the powder. Now, I'm not going to get really heavily into how you mix it and how you use Olaplex because, like I said, I do have other videos that take you through that, and there's lots and lots of information on my Instagram, which is popping up here again, Kel Surprise. And also you can go to the new Pro Olaplex app, which you can download from the App Store. And that's got loads and loads of information as well. It's been updated and it's really, really cool. But the whole point of this particular point is that you don't need to bump your developer. So, and I use it in salon day to day, and I don't find that it takes longer for the product to lift. As long as you follow the manufacturer's guidelines and instructions, and I'm a massive advocate of that. I'm always banging on about following what we're told from the people that develop these products. But as long as you follow those guidelines, you don't need to bump your developer, and the lifting doesn't take any longer. So I always think when filming these videos that the clips are going to be really short and it's not going to take very long, and the video is always going to be under 15 minutes. If only. There's always so much information to share with you peeps out there. So this is a really quick one though. This is a fast one. Olaplex #1 will vary in colour. This bottle that I have here, my home bottle if you like, is quite deep in colour. I have a bottle in the salon that I was using before we went into lockdown #3 that's quite light in colour. And the reason that the #1, the actual colour differs is because of the raw ingredients that are used to make the product. If you have a darker bottle, it doesn't mean that it's gone off. You have a 2-year shelf life once this is opened. So you have 24 months once this is opened to use it up in. But when it comes to you sealed and it's darker, it doesn't mean that it's gone off. If it comes to you and it's lighter and it's sealed, again, it doesn't mean that it's less effective. It just means that the raw ingredients can alter the colour of #1. Simple. So there are a lot of Olaplex myths out there, but this is the last one for this video. Maybe there'll be a follow-up, who knows? If you find this video helpful, then obviously you can let me know down in the comments, but also if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, make sure you're subscribed, etc, etc, and hit that bell notification to make sure that you see, that you get notified every time I post a video, because there's a lot more coming here on my channel. So finally, we're going to talk about the effects of Olaplex. And one of the things that I think is absolutely amazing about that long chemical compound that I've said numerous times throughout this video, and that is that the effects of that chemical compound, once it's been used as an additive in the salon or you've had a treatment in the salon, is that those bonds in the hair are permanently mended. They're permanently rebonded. But obviously, if you're somebody that colours your hair, uses heat on your hair, if you brush your hair vigorously, if you swim, if you have hard water, all of those things, that will then re-effect the bonds in the hair. But this is such an effective product, and that chemical compound is so magnificent, if you like, that if you were never to do any of those things to your hair again, and you were to go and live in a cave and to never touch your hair again, the bonds would still maintain their strength and still be together and still be rebuilt by that ingredient in Olaplex. There's a really cool analogy, and if you think of, and this comes from the peeps at Olaplex, if you think of a bone, if you break your arm, for example, and the arm then mends, you go to the doctor, obviously, you get your arm mended and it's working again, it doesn't mean that you can't break your arm again. It's kind of clever, isn't it? So that's what Olaplex does, is it, reforms those bonds or stops the bonds from being broken if you're using, number one, as an additive in salon or as a treatment as well to rebuild the bonds. But then obviously the bonds, you can do things to degrade those bonds again and to take those bonds away, to break the bonds, and therefore they have to be reformed. So, and as I've already said, I've seen such amazing results in salon, not only when I'm using it as an additive, but on my clients when they use the take home and the styling line at home, that, it's something that with continued use will keep those bonds strong and keep your hair healthy, growing, shiny, all of the things that we want from our hair. Thank you for watching, and yes. So that's it for this myth-busting Olaplex session. If you found the information in this video helpful, then I'd really appreciate it if you'd let me know down in the comments. And hopefully, if you're an Olaplex user already, this has helped to dispel some of those myths. And if you've been thinking about using the product, then maybe this will be what you need to, take you to actually use the product and get the great results that I've been getting. Obviously, all the opinions in this video are my own. This is not sponsored. I'm not paid by Olaplex. It's just made such a huge difference to my in-salon colouring, lightening, etc. And my clients love the product so much that they wouldn't want me to stop using it. Once again, if you've enjoyed this, then please give it a like and make sure you're subscribed and hit those notifications. You guys take loads of care, and I will see you in the next one.